The purpose of Wealth Talk is to educate, inform, and hopefully entertain you on the subject of building your wealth. Wealth Builders recommends you should always take independent financial, tax, or legal advice before making any decisions around your finances.
Welcome to episode 201 of Wealth Talk. My name is Christian Rodwell, the Membership Director for Wealth Builders, joined today by our founder, Mr. Kevin Whelan. Hello, Kevin.
Hello, Chris. Good to be with you again.
All right, here we go again, 201. So, Member Spotlight week this week, and really good actually to focus on Rachel Bunney's story today. And Rachel joined the Wealth Builders Academy with her husband, Mark, in August 2022, and still early days, but doing great work. Actually, 4 of the 7 pillars in play, as we'll hear today. And Rachel has built a business which is a membership business. And we love membership businesses because recurring income, Kevin, I'm sure you'll touch on the importance of recurring income for any business owner. But more so, I think, because she's still in that first early stage of building up her first few customers, which, you know, is often overlooked, Kevin, I think, because that's the hardest part, right? Is to get that confidence just to get going. And then to see your first income from your first paying customer is something that obviously you can't really beat.
It's an interesting one. It's almost like overcoming gravity, so the power that's needed to push out of Earth's gravity is huge compared to the power needed once you're out of it. And this is ever true with business owners as well. The amount of energy to get things started, and just to not just in the energy of what you need to do to construct that, but your mindset. And you can hear a little tinge of doubt, and as often there is with business owners when they get started. We had this with Andy Labram, didn't we? Will people really pay me for this? And you've got to overcome that imposter syndrome, and that's often difficult when you've been doing something for a long time and you're really good at it. It becomes so natural, you don't realize how good you are and how much value you can bring, whatever your niche is, whatever that opportunity is for you. So an interesting one, this one.
Yes, indeed. So we will hear from Rachel, and she'll share her experience of her first 12 months or so in business. And then we'll be back to debrief afterwards. So let's head on over to our conversation with Rachel Bunney. Rachel, welcome to Wealth Talk today. How are you?
Hi, yeah, I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. And you joined Wealth Builders almost a year ago now. It was, I think, August 2022. And you joined with your husband, Mark. And how have you found your first 10 or 11 months so far?
Oh, wow, it's gone quick. I can't believe it's a year already. But yeah, it's been really good. It's we've learned so much, I think, the two of us. Mark's definitely sort of taken a real front seat of learning a lot of the content within Wealth Builders and everything else. But we joined really with a starting point to, I think the main thing really was to have the coach. That was like a real selling point for us. So having a coach for me in the business side of things. But then, it has sort of developed, and Mark's kind of been looking at lots of different avenues of things we can tap into to change how we do everything in our normal lives. So today he's actually having a little chat with someone who we've met through Wealth Builders, which is really exciting. So hopefully that will lead to a few changes happening too.
Brilliant. Yeah, well, it's all about connections and community. And we should give a nod to your wealth coach, John Dale, because it was actually John who got in touch with me and said, I think you need to have a chat with Rachel because she's doing some really, really good stuff. And hence why we're here today. So John's been very supportive.
Oh, thank you, John. Yeah, he's the reason I launched the membership, actually. So, it was in the cards anyway, but he gave me that gentle, friendly push to launch. Yes. So thank you, John.
Yeah, and that's why I'm really looking forward to speaking with you today, Rachel, because I think it's almost as important to get your first customer as it is to be making, hundreds of thousands, because at the beginning, everything feels harder, right? Because you're learning something for new. You haven't got the confidence built up yet, and you're testing things. And so to get your first customer is amazing, right? Someone who pays you some money. And then to get your first 10 customers is amazing. Those small milestones, those small wins. And this is all kind of what you've been doing over the last couple of years or last 12 months even. And I think it's really inspiring for people listening, because it's really easy on social media to just constantly see people really overachieving and, sharing all these massive, amounts of revenue and successes. But for most people, they're not there, right? Most people are in the trenches, just trying to get something to work. And that's why I think today's lessons that you'll be sharing will be really valuable. So thanks again for doing that. So before we get into what you've been doing with your membership program, Rachel, let's kind of look back at what were you doing before you joined Wealth Builders? Were you in work? And, what did your sort of working week look like?
So in March 2020, we had our first daughter, Grace. And before that, I was working for a sewing machine company full-time, traveling around the country, visiting. I think I had about 50 independent sewing machine accounts to look after. So I was an account manager and a product specialist as well for the sewing side of things. So I would train the accounts up on the sewing machines and also their customers, embroidery machines as well, and that kind of thing. And then when I had my daughter, obviously, with it being March 2020, everything changed in the world as well as in our world. So it really kind of drilled home that things needed to change. And I couldn't go back to doing the kind of work that I was doing previously in that kind of capacity. So it was a really hard decision to make to leave, because I did love my job and I built up all this knowledge working there for 10 years and everything else, and lots of contacts and things. So it was quite a sad time, actually, because it was a really tricky decision, but I knew I had to put family first. And it was using that network of people that I built up over the years through working with the sewing machine company that got me into doing what I do now, really, because they said, "Oh, can you come and do a bit of work with us? Can you do a bit of work with us? Or so-and-so needs some training." So I ended up starting off with one-to-one training, working at shows that I used to work at anyway, but without all the stuff in the background. I could just turn up, do the nice bit, and then go home again, which was really nice. And then it kind of grew from there, really. So more people found me. I started doing Instagram properly, in my way, properly as I could, set up my own website, and started promoting myself, which was, again, another scary step, because I'd spent so long sort of hiding behind the brand that I worked for and not really wanting to put me out there. So that was quite a big step as well. And then it's grown from there. Yeah.
So at that point, when you started to really think about your brand, right, and start putting together the content and the assets and the websites and stuff, was your intention then to still attract one-to-one clients, or was the intention to actually build this into a membership program at that stage?
Yeah, so I think at the time when I first started, I had two kind of arms to the business in my head. I had the one-to-one stuff online and in person, thinking that it would be lovely to kind of do some kind of semi-passive thing, but not really knowing where to go, what to do, or even how to do it. And then the other side of it was to do embroidery commissions, which I've kind of knocked on the head. I still do a bit of bespoke one-off stuff that's a little bit specialist, but not the kind of personalizing everything in the same way kind of thing. So I've definitely kind of moved more to the tuition side of things, which is nice. And then the idea for the membership and the another form of income stream came in as well. So
yeah. And what kind of education did you have in terms of kind of learning how to do this, how to set up a website, and what you should be doing to build a membership program? Were you reading books, watching videos? Anyone in particular that you followed?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, there's one key lady called Lisa Johnson, who I joined her one-to-many course, and that really kind of gave me a lot of the foundations to be able to launch confidently, I think. I say that quite loosely because I'm still not 100% confident in everything I'm doing, but I think just having it and doing it in the right ways, and having those things in place before you kind of launch, and helping you along the way. Also, I did a course with a charity locally called Successful Mums. So they really helped me to get the business off the ground, kind of thing. They gave me that first initial push. So I'd say them, and Lisa Johnson as well, really gave me the kind of foundations to grow from there.
Yeah. Which Wealth Builders, the kind of three foundational elements are education, support, connection, and it doesn't have to come from Wealth Builders necessarily, right? It's like you have to find some education and good education from somewhere, and you need good support, and then of course connections, which you're building as you go. So three key elements there, absolutely. Okay, so what was the name that you came up with for your membership program, Rachel?
So it's not very inventive actually, but it's the Bunny and Thread Embroidery Club. So I didn't want it to be like it's a membership, it's a subscription, even though obviously that is what it is. I wanted it to be like a club, so that people can kind of meet other people, other like-minded people that use embroidery machines. So it's quite niche, and it does sort of stick to not intentionally, but stick to a brand of embroidery machine as well, which is a brother embroidery machines. But I've realised one of the learns actually is that niche is good, because it really kind of fine tunes people to find you. So yeah, that's the name of the club.
Okay, and you said it's for the hobbyist embroider and. People who perhaps have had a machine sat there, right, but they've not really used it. They don't know exactly how to get the most out of it, and you show them how to do that. Yeah,
definitely. So I think it feels normal to me, but we also saw sort of a real increase in sales of sewing machines and embroidery machines through the pandemic. And a lot of those people have just left them in the box, or they're scared of them. They've invested a lot of money in this technology, and then they don't know anyone else that does it, or they don't have a shop locally where they can kind of go back to for help or anything else. So to be able to offer that kind of service is what I'm all about.
Yeah. And can you kind of take yourself back to that point where you were setting that up? Like in your mind, did you have any kind of goal? Did you secretly think, wow, what if I could get like 100 or 1,000 members here?
I mean, when I was doing the Lisa Johnson course, it was very like big numbers, and I was just thinking, oh, that's amazing. Like, I'd love to be able to do that. But I think for me, it was looking at, right, okay, I've already got the one-to-one stuff coming in. I've got some embroidery commissions coming in. So what would be a realistic kind of goal for me to set myself? I don't like to go I kind of like to go good, better, best, so that I can still keep aiming for higher, but be happy if I just got the good kind of thing. So yeah, my good target for the first month. So I did I guess you kind of call it a soft launch. So I just put it out there to my followers and I had a free Facebook group as well that I'd set up, and sort of breadcrumbing in other Facebook groups as well, and my mailing list. So just kind of put it out there, and then my target was 10 members, and which was £15 a month at that first month. So that was my target. And then I think it was even like within 2 weeks, I'd got like 27 people signed up, and I was blown away. I kept getting alerts on my phone because the website system I use, it sort of sends me little alerts, and I was just like, another one, I've got another one.
Yeah.
So like you said before, it's that first customer, you think, this is actually happening, it's working, and people aren't just, they're seeing it and it's real. It was really exciting.
Yeah, no, it's magical, isn't it? Where literally it's just like ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching.
That's it. Yeah.
And of course, it's real people here, and it's not just the money, but of course, we're building a business. Then sales is part of that. And when was this? When exactly did you do the launch, Rachel?
It was March. Yeah, so it was March. Yeah.
So we're only talking, 3-4 months ago. So that's fantastic. And as you say, it obviously doubled what you were hoping to do there. And then take us through that first, month with that new cohort. Like, did you have a structure already built for the program, and kind of what was that? So what was your offer, and what were they getting for that £15 subscription per month?
So the main things that the membership focuses on is masterclasses. So I do a masterclass a month, and then a live Q&A a month. Both of those are live, that are then recorded and then put onto my sort of members area, which is on my website. So the first one I set the topic for, I set it up and put it out there because it was the main question that I get asked all the time. So I thought, right, this will be a good one to start with and get people in, which is all about different stabilizers you use for the embroidery machines. And then from there on in, I ask for feedback from my members. So that was a really real key point for me, because it's my club, but it's more their club really, because I want them to get the most out of it. So I asked them for ideas, things they want me to cover in masterclasses, and then I'll put a vote out. So I'll pick 3 topics for that month, put a vote out on the Facebook group, the private Facebook group, and then they can vote on each topic for each month. So then going forward, they will pick the topics each time.
Yeah, key lesson there. Obviously, you give them what they want, right? And solve the problems that people are telling you they're having. And then obviously you build that into your marketing then, right? Because you know that you've been told that, and that then goes into your message. So in terms of marketing moving forwards now, how are you looking to grow the membership? What kind of things are you going to be doing?
So in the not so distant future, I want to do I guess another sort of launch. So I want to do a free webinar and push it out there to more people, maybe spend a bit of money on advertising, maybe, we'll see, and just see if we can get a few more people in, and just kind of promote what we're all about and how lovely the community is that we've built together. Everyone is so nice in there, which is really lucky, but yeah, just kind of really pushing that out there, give people a little taster of what they can expect in the club, and then open the doors and let people in.
Yeah. And there's a saying in kind of membership sites, people come for the content, but they stay for the community. Yeah. And are you seeing the retention as well from those 27 that joined?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's only one lady who left, and we'd already had a conversation before she joined, and she said it might not be for her because she's more of a business doing embroidery rather than the hobbyist kind of thing. So everyone else has stayed, which is great.
That's brilliant. And of course, not only are you building a business, so pillar 5 of our 7 pillars of wealth, you're now building your IP, you're creating intellectual property in the way of courses. And also you mentioned to me something about a retreat or two. So tell us more about that.
So I work together with 2 lovely ladies, Caroline and Janice. So together we've put together a retreat called Away to Sew. So it's just a lovely 3 days in Kent, in a hotel with a swimming pool, lovely big open space room where you can bring your sewing machine, bring your projects, come with a friend or meet new friends when you're there. And it's just a lovely place to go and sew for 3 days. And then you get us 3 there to help and guide you along with demonstrations or anything specific on the project you're going to create on the retreat, so we're on hand to help as well. So nice. We've just done the second one in May, and then we've got another one. We haven't announced the dates yet, but it is September this year. We've got another booking in of the hotel. Okay. So yeah.
All right. We'll be sure to post that in the Facebook community for anyone listening who might be interested in coming along. So that's really good. And it sounds like you're really creating an experience there. So it's not just about sewing. It's getting together with friends and just having a bit of time out from things. And again, that's what you want, isn't it? Building that community where people come and they stay. And it's not just staying for the original content, which they joined for. It's all the other things that they weren't expecting to get as a result of it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And they come back as well, which is great, because then they meet new people and then they stay connected and then they all come back together, which is great. So
And of course, then referrals and, word of mouth. And, that's another strategy, right? So there's always so many ideas of things that you can do, right? So it's just about getting proof of concept at the beginning, and that you absolutely have established now. So that is kind of like first base. And now you can build towards your first 100 members, which I'm sure you'll be hitting, in the not too distant future. But you talked about doing the retreat there with a couple of other people. So that's now looking at joint ventures, right? So it's partnering with other people to create value and a win-win for everyone and an income stream. So, without realizing, perhaps you've got 3 pillars on the go there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's quite good, actually, isn't it?
That is good. And then you've got Mark looking at the property pillar. So all of the entrepreneurial pillars, pretty much you've got covered, or you will have. So good work in the first 10 months, Rachel.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's quite interesting sort of looking back at things, even though it's still, like you say, early days, and realizing how far we've come, even in this short period of time where we've been part of the WealthBuilders community. So yeah, it's really good to see.
Yeah, that's good. And what would be some lessons, from your first year or two in business? Anyone who's listening now, Rachel, they're going through the same kind of stages of thinking of an idea. Will anybody buy? What do I do? How do I launch? Trying to get perfect, right? And I think that's something we've not touched on, but perfection. Tell me a bit about that, because some people never start because they're always tinkering.
Yeah. I mean, not letting perfection get in the way of progression. I'm sure I need to quote someone for that, but but that is a big thing. And again, I have to say to John Dale, our coach, because he basically just said, why don't you just do it? Like, you haven't got to put things. I was thinking, right, I need to get some content on there. I need to get it all looking nice and get it all. And yeah, I didn't at all. I just said, look, it's new. Come in, tell me what you want, and I'll create it for you. And it's worked really well. And I think if it happens with all sorts of things, doesn't it? You sort of put it off until it's perfect. But if you never get it out there, then you never know. So yeah, absolutely, definitely, that's a big lesson for sure.
Yeah. What would be another lesson that, looking back now, you would perhaps have done differently or done quicker?
Yeah, I think a lot of it, a big thing for me was mindset, actually. And I think that's in a lot of life anyway, just having the right kind of mindset. And I think if you think it's not going to work, then it probably won't, because you're not going to do the things that you need to do to get it to work. So, and there's enough room out there for everyone. So you're not going to find something that no one else is doing. Even in my niche, there are other people doing what I do. But you've got to be you and show why you're different, and people will like you or join you or do both. So there's enough room out there for everyone to do things your way. I just wish I'd started it all sooner as well. That was the other thing, but there we go. It's still early days, but
yeah. Well, that's a good message, I think, to leave us on there. Just get going, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Just get going. So I'd love to have you back in a few months, Rachel, and we'll see how things are progressing, and also on the property side of things, and hopefully Mark's visits today go well. So well done to you both. Thanks very much for sharing today, Rachel, and for being a part of the WealthBuilders community.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, just a final one, Rachel. Tell everyone the URL, the website where they can go and check you out.
Good point. Yeah. So it's www.bunnyandthread.com. And that's Bunny because it's my surname is Bunny. It's Bunney.
Go there now. All right, then. Thanks, Rachel. See ya.
Bye.
Okay, I really enjoyed speaking to Rachel on that one, Kevin, and certainly a few points to pull out there. Before we do that, let's head on over to Trustpilot and read out one of our latest reviews. And this one catching my eye today is from Errol. And Errol says, wealth building made easier. So this is the only organization I'm aware of that provides a complete holistic view of how to create wealth. Wealth Builders hold your hand to get you started on the strategy best suited for you. The support I received kept me engaged and motivated without ever putting me under pressure. The roadmap they have created for wealth creation is clear, well signposted, and gives confidence that if followed, I will reach my destination of financial independence.
Wow. I like that. And we often refer to the confidence that people get when they see things working. And Rachel is the same, right? You needed just to see some evidence, often surprising, that, people are buying into what you have to offer. And I think instinctively she knew that, but didn't think she had a business doing that. She had it as an employee, didn't she? And often showing people what to do. And what's interesting for me about this, Chris, is the lessons are hard baked here into the lessons for anybody. And even though the niche is interesting, you remember before you had your break, I had a bit of a laugh about the worst thing I could think of was going to Glastonbury. And you were like, yeah, it's horses for courses, everybody's different. And this is one of those, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
This is never going to touch my life. Sewing, embroidery, being great at that. But I can understand why it is. And there's a whole industry, isn't there, around hobbies and interests. And I'm always fascinated when someone discovers for themselves a rich and energizing niche where they actually become like the wealth dynamics in flow. And you could tell Rachel was in flow, so being in flow is an important part of that. But the other issue to mention, I think, is choosing your niche and being outstanding in a niche is one of the prerequisites of a wealth building business. Not just a business that I've mentioned before, trading time for money, but just with a different set of construction. Not trading time for money, a job, but trading time for in a business where you're a job holder essentially in a business. But if you can find a rich niche and go deep into that niche and create your authority and your key person of influence, as we might say, then, and I think we've got access to that book, haven't we, as well? Key Person of Influence. You might want to signpost that from Daniel Priestley.
Yes.
That.
Yes, no, Daniel very kindly shared a copy for us to share with our members. So inside the Wealth Builders free membership, make sure you're registered, wealthbuilders.co.uk/membership, and should be able to access that inside there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. And, we talked about the roadmap, and I think Rachel referred to that, and Errol did in his review as well. But our roadmap, which we teach, which is the path that everyone has to follow to move from financial insecurity to financial independence, we've broken it into 3 stages. And stage 1 is building confidence, and it begins with mindset. It begins with knowing yourself. And our members take the Wealth Dynamics assessment, and Rachel was a clear creator. She has lots of dynamo energy, which is that creative energy to come up with ideas, come up with things, and she's put that into good practice. But and then stage 2 is building knowledge. So that's understanding then, well, how do you actually build a business, and what type of business? And there's different types of recurring income businesses that people can follow, aren't there, Kevin?
Yeah, there are, and I've identified 4. I'd be very interested if anybody else can come up with a 5th, because those distinctions that are often referred to can come from elsewhere. We're humble enough to accept anybody else's suggestions as well. So the 4 types of recurring income, and it's worth mentioning that recurring income is the most precious income of all, because if you can secure recurring income, in other words, income that's automatic in some way, it's contractual in some way, it's not just getting a customer to buy again, it's the fact they're committed to that auto buying sequence. And there are 4 types. And let's see if we can identify, what type Rachel fits into there. So the first one is a product that you would have and purchase that is you automatically purchase. So think about you as a customer and think about you as a business owner. And so, get curious about it, almost develop a sort of sense of curiosity around recurring income businesses. And I look for them everywhere. It's a fun thing for me to do and go, where's the recurring income in that? Where's the recurring income in that? And that's a question I'm always asking myself when I see any business. But the recurring income and a product is, well, what product do you automatically have that's on autopilot for you? Auto delivery. Is it, you got a horse, so you have food delivered automatically? Is it, we've got a black Labrador, and the bags of food for them are pretty heavy, right? Well, why do I want to put my back out or get my wife to put her back out? Just get it delivered. So And of course, the famous one for Kev, which is wine. I get my wine delivered, and it comes automatically, and I get a very pleasant injection of that, and I enjoy spending the money. So that's a recurring income for the business who's supplying me. Well, what's your version of that? So that's a product. The other is a service. So what service do you receive? That's automatic. It's contractual, maybe, and you could think of lots of things around the home or in business that would be relevant for that. I mean, in business, we're paying for tech support, aren't we?
Yeah.
At home, you might pay for your alarm to be serviced or your car to be serviced or whatever, So lots and lots of ideas around that.
Yeah. I was going to say the software as a service, right, is all over the place now. So subscriptions to all sorts of things within a business.
Yeah. Albeit subscriptions and memberships would be a third category, which I think is where Rachel's going with kind of like a membership idea to create something that people feel part of a community. And it's building the community. And you, I think, quite nicely said it. I think, people come for the content but stay for the community, I believe, are the words you used. And I think that's right. And what she's trying to do is build that community. And I think what's great about what she's doing is it's around a machine, right? And while she talked about the different brands of machine, actually, my wife's a seamstress. She made her own wedding dress going back ages ago. And I'll get her to go and have a look at this. She doesn't actively get involved now, but she's been and done that. We've still got the sewing machine, and it is a brother sewing machine. And what's interesting, though, is there are thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people who are fascinated by the subject. And it's just great that she can tap into that. And because it's the machine, they need to see it, don't they? And that sort of engenders the community, because you can almost see a room full of machinists or lessons, almost like famous chefs cooking. You can have Rachel doing it with a mirror on there so everybody can see what she's doing. This is how you do that, and this is how you do that. And that's how you do that. And that's what people pay for, is the distinctions that they don't get and they can't get on their own. So that's membership in subscriptions. And of course, WealthBuilders is a membership and subscription business for those who decide to join. Of course, we obsess about giving away free content as well, because we hope that at some point, self-servingly, when people are ready, they've had enough good content to go, hey, I'm ready, take action now. And hopefully they'll reach out to us. But anyway, the fourth is a gateway. Now that's probably the least understood, I think, of the four recurring income models. And the gateway, it still identifies a niche, but instead of you providing the service, you curate the content. You become essentially a librarian for the content of people searching for a specific issue. Now, that could be any niche that you find, but in a world where we're bombarded, we're inundated with information coming from all angles, it's often referred to as trying to get a cup of water out of Niagara Falls. There's too much information. You Google anything, you get so much. Whereas if you're interested in something and somebody can get that content, sift that content, and make that content available to you in the way that you want it, then that could be a really good gateway. And you don't have the difference with a gateway and membership is with a membership, you're asking somebody to pay for your curation or for your skill. With a gateway, you're being paid by the myriad of people who are providing a service to that community. I always use the same example because it's the easiest one to pick out, which is Money Saving Expert, Martin Lewis, who didn't charge anything to be a member. It's not a Money Saving Expert membership site where you pay X pounds a month. No, it's basically an affiliate link. You click on something, it's automatically tagged. And if you then go on to buy, the cookies embedded in that will send us small payment. And if you've got enough people visiting the site, those small payments add up to large payments. And, he's done a really outstanding job of doing that. And over the years has built up, a personality around that. But what's your version? So if you're in business or thinking about being in business, or like Rachel, at the very cusp of building a bridge between employeeship, where you're outstanding at what you do, Maybe you don't know it yet. Maybe you do. Maybe you've been told, hey, you're really good at that. You've really got a good way of thinking about that. Then you can turn that into some form of membership or subscription or recurring income business if you want. So congrats to Rachel for doing that. And of course, while Rachel's been the feature of this, her husband Mark has been outstanding in his own support, not just in supporting Rachel, but also in looking at the alternative asset classes, which is property. So we know that's a genuine team business going on there, don't we?
Yeah, no, great to hear all 4 of those entrepreneurial pillars being brought into play. And just to touch on another aspect, a key step in our 9-step roadmap, which is step 5, leverage, because there's some good examples of how Rachel's brought leverage into play here. So you have FIRST, which is your acronym, Kevin: financial leverage, intellectual, relationship, systems, and time. So obviously the intellectual leverage, all of those years built up, she's now, taken that experience, hasn't just parked it or left it behind. She's brought it with her into her new life, and now being able to monetize that and obviously enjoy that because she knows she's an expert in her field. But then the relationship leverage of working with a coach, and she mentioned that was one of the things that attracted them to Wealth Builders, was having that one-to-one support. And their coach has been John Dale, and John gave Rachel that push, which sometimes you need, because otherwise you're working towards perfection, and perfection kind of never seems to come, does it? There's always something else you can be doing before you're ready to go.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, isn't it? Particularly for wealth dynamics that are a little bit more steely perhaps than Rachel's, where you just want all the traffic lights on the road to be green before you set off, and they never are they? And so you can't really do that. But so I get that. So I think it's just get started, get better later, isn't it? That's all you can do. And if you tell the truth and you say to people, hey, this is what we're doing, it's not perfect. In fact, we welcome your feedback so we can improve it. They will respect that.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the formula that we followed in the past. I'm sure we'll follow again in the future when we have new products to launch. So, really well done to Rachel and to Mark, of course, as you say, working together as a team, joined as a partnership, and, within their first 12 months, making great progress. So, good. Well, hopefully we'll be able to share more member stories in the future episodes. We had a bit of a break, but we've got so many great stories to share. We'll make sure that I think every month we're inviting a member to share their progress. So, Kevin, we will catch up again, same time, same place next week.
You will indeed, Chris. And until then, my friend, see ya.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget that we are constantly updating our resources inside the Wealth Builders membership site to help you create, build, and protect your wealth. Head over to wealthbuilders.co.uk/membership right now for free access. That's wealthbuilders.co.uk/membership.